Hell, this is Lana. This is Elemental Reforged live beta one. What am I talking about? Oh, okay. I'm not even. We're just keep rolling. So yes, this is the Elemental live. I almost said beta again. Uh, playthrough. What I'd like to do with this is actually kind of just go through the whole game. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, you know I spend way too much time explaining everything, and this is definitely not going to be an exception. Um, but this will be the 1.0 version of the game. There are quite a few changes at the end. I actually started doing a recording. This was the Alorith recording. Um, and then I figured, you know what, I might just blast through the whole thing. So I actually have like 6 videos, but I didn't want to post it because it was like right before the end. Um, and none of my videos get completed usually, anyways. So I didn't do a lot during the beta content because like half time I'd start a video and then it would be uh, the new patch, and I just wanted to start the new patch. So, a couple things I've seen on the forums is one, kind of dealing with the epic camps. The other, I've seen some questions about like how to set production, things like that. Um, and I'll probably go into combat quite a bit because I think one thing I see a lot, and if you, I probably talked about this way too much on the channel, but or on the Discord. But one thing I see a lot is this whole thing, like, oh, I have a like a I forget what it says, medium army. I don't even look at it, to be honest. The medium army, and I can't take down, an epic army spawn. Like, why is it set up this way? How, there's no way I can beat that. And I want to show that yes, you can actually beat those. It's not really. It's just a raw stats kind of thing. But there's a lot to combat in this game. Also, I wanted to explain zone and control because it's working. Some people don't feel like it is. It's actually working very well, but there's always some caveats to things. Just simply even being that it's a square based game and not a hex based game kind of makes certain things not they function correctly, but it's not necessarily what people expect if like in how movement works. So I'll try to explain all this. Um, or if someone has a question, I will. My goal is to answer questions. I even may drop out to look at a save with someone if someone has. So, let's see here. I think I will start here. Okay. So now the question is what type play? I I want to. One class I'm not going to play right now is the warrior, and there's a reason why, and there's a bug that I've reported with it. Um, the bug makes just everything too easy. I actually was starting a tutorial, and then I remembered about this bug, so it'll be fixed, I think, pretty quickly. But there's some certain things, certain optimizations I won't be doing because they're not quite working right. Okay, I want to do kind of a standard mage playthrough. I think a lot of people think you don't have enough mana to do everything, and probably the best mage for this is Procipinee or Sarisa. But Sarisa's fun to play against, so I'd rather have an opponent than player. Plus, I was literally just did a summoner game that's very similar to how Rosalind and Sarisa would play. So I don't think I'll do that. But mainly these are the two casters. This is that come shipped with the game is Oracle Cerisa. She's the Fallen Enchantress. Um, this is her race and everything like that. And then Procipinee. So it's kind of the good mage versus evil mage, or well, everyone says, their point of view, the other one's evil. Anyways, she has Amarins have what's called Amaran blood. Every race has its own race trait, and it gives different bonuses. Amarins basically are Marians. Maybe that's how you say it. For each shard you get, they get a small bonus. So, one dodge per air shard, one initiative per fire shard, one spell mastery for water, and one spell resistance per earth. And then for every level, they have the Soul Spark ability that does 2 damage plus 1 per level. I almost never use Soul Spark, but maybe I can find a way and make it into a build, at least with one of the characters. She starts with Air Apprentice, Life Apprentice, and Water Apprentice. This is your standard good mage build. The only thing that makes it, I mean, a lot of people like Fireball, who went, but Water Apprentice is really nice for mages, and Air Apprentice is just good all around. And Propaganda is one actually, the spell that I got back in the game. So you guys, once you guys learn how to use it, you love me, but then some of you guys are going to hate me for the Decalon. I will be the one to blame for the 200 mana cost. I'm sorry for those that liked it. That was like 50 mana to cast it, create outpost, but that's just silly cheap. So it's in the early game it hurts you because you can't necessarily expand. You gotta expand like everyone else, where you gotta use like pioneers. But there's a lot of caveats to how much like the 50 mana cost would actually impact the game, where it was actually a lot stronger than many realized. So sorry about that. if you're a fan of the arcade monolith. Enchanters just gives some unique weapons that fire lightning, and then Paradin lore gives all the lores give the Elixir of Essence recipe, and then you got some scrolls, some staffs, some different things like that. Queen Procipinee has Procipinee's Crown, so any enchants you cast on her don't cost maintenance. And then you'll look here. This is basically the dynasty name, and then those backstory. I'm not going to go through character creation, at least for this video. I'm just going to play Procipinee this time, because that's just like a whole nother video. All right, the next thing is when you start the game is going to be your map setup. This can really change how your game plays. I've seen, it's one thing you really keep in mind. So the world size, one thing is the old game used to go up to huge, and now the new one is gigantic. So if you're one of the people playing the biggest settings, there's some. This is kind of an experimental map size. It's going to change quite a few things, but if you like big maps, try it. Just know it's. I would say it's probably the most experimental of the world sizes, just because of the new mechanic. It could be very different. Map type. If you like more places to settle, stuff like that, you want to pick something like temperate. This is more fertile land where you can settle. Otherwise, swamps, you can't settle on swamps. You can't settle on desert. Um, you can you'll have to terraform them later. Mountainous, you have mountains. So this can really change how your game plays. I might just do random. That's pretty much what I always do. Uh, well, maybe. Now I might do balanced. We'll just do that. Wildland frequency. Wildlands are not as strong as they used to be. Well, compared to the other endgame content, this is supposed to be like um, they have different stamps on the map, and you go around and you clear out these areas, and you usually unlock a pretty good area to settle, as well as you can get some unique equipment, and you kind of fight the big titans and lore bosses. I don't know if they're the titans. I forget how the lore on that works. So the more of these you have, these areas have a tendency to wake up and run after. They kind of run around. They can be quite dangerous. So if you get run over, or if you're getting run over, you might want to turn those down. But I think they're fun little areas, and I might leave them on. Production pace this is personal preference. If you want longer production times or shorter, I would say the default pace, everything takes, I'd say a lot of the buildings take around 5 to 8 turns, depending on your production. You can get it down lower, but that's usually around the time. Fast pace, it's faster. No, I saw some complaints about, oh, things take too long. Well, what's your pace set? Maybe you just want to set to fast. Otherwise, it could be on how they set up their city. I'm not sure. Quest frequency. There's a lot of quests on the map. These can range, and some of them are really fun. They imported all the quests from Sorcerer King, which was written by the author. One of the authors came from Cracked, so some of them are pretty funny and kind of wacky. Some of them I might not work all the time. There's a lot of quests, and it's on a brand new system, so a lot of it got cleaned up during the beta, but there could be some that are still not quite right. World difficulty. This is probably one of the biggest things to kind of keep aware of as far as the game goes. So this is not your AI difficulty. This is not how it determines how strong your AIs are. This is the neutral mobs, the monsters. Basically, it starts off what level they are, and the level, for the most part, there's a few stats on different level ups, and then there's different thresholds where they get a bump. So let's say you have a bandit camp, and a bandit camp has level 1 bandits. This will change it. So if you go to challenging, that level 1 bandit camp becomes level 2. If you go to hard, it's level 3, 4, 5, and then insane is can be a little gotcha. It just doubles the level. Now, insane is actually easier in the early game and harder in the late game, because what you take a level 1 camp and you make it a level 2, you basically have challenging. But when you have a level 20 camp and it becomes 40, that's when things can that can get a little hairy. Now I might just play on hard. The only other difference this actually has is it determines what turn time some of the camps appear. And I'm kind of doing a tutorial. I don't want to get into a point where I'm actually just getting stuck. I'll still get some pretty difficult fights, but I just don't want to get to a point where I'm, the whole thing. I get like when I played my last game, I got storm dragons right outside one of my camps. Now I know how to deal with it, but I didn't do my own steps, and so they spawned, and it took me quite a while to be able to handle it. Now I wasn't worried about it because I know enough about how the system works that I knew that wasn't going to be much of a threat to any of my cities. But I'll go over it. Monster frequency is how many camps I might have on dense. I just like a lot of stuff on the map. It will slow down, but right now, especially I'd say clearing the map is or fighting the monsters is probably more interesting than fighting against the AIs. The AIs do pretty well now, but they still need work. It's complicated sometimes to go through all the AI stuff and get that right. Magic strength. This is going to determine how many shards you have. So dense has 50% more shards. More magic. Your magic game. Now I'm gonna set it to moderate because I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I had like 100 mana per turn, which that would be a lot. 100 mana per turn, and you guys should be able to do that too. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna just do on moderate settings. Let's see, resource frequency, same thing, just resources. I believe this, and it's not just regular resources. I think it refers to not only metal and crystal, but clay pits, stuff like that. We're going to do moderate random event frequency. I'm going to just leave it on default. This can sometimes send a very high level, like there's a dark sorcerer one that can be hurt you really bad. So yeah, the random, some of these encounters can be quite dangerous, and they are not intended to be balanced. They're supposed to kind of put something very difficult in front of you as a challenge. All right, down here you have the map seed. I'm not sure if that's working yet. It wasn't, but I'll have to set later. All right, and then who opposes you? So we have number of opponents. So if you go here, each map size recommends a certain number of players. I might actually play on a medium map. So I'm gonna just leave it at default 4 opponents. And this is Kingdom versus Empire. There's 2 factions game, Kingdom and Empire. I'm playing Procipinee, so I'm gonna be Kingdom. But Empire, this basically has death magic and some death spells. You have necromancy stuff, and then life is healing and stuff like that. But these, if the faction's on the opposite, or if it's on the opposite faction, there's a diplomatic penalty. So you tend to ally with your own faction. It's not always the case, but you have to just work harder otherwise. Typical intelligence opponents. This is okay. So this is your economic bonuses. So for the question for a lot of people is going to be, what's the highest difficulty I can play that doesn't give the AI bonuses? And this is going to be challenging. This gives the AI a lot more. They'll use most of their abilities, but no actual bonuses. Now, once you get better, if these are not necessarily, this is not cheating. This allows basically you have a challenge later on when you want to give the AI a handicap. So if you set these, this is kind of up to each player, however they want to set it up. But I would say if you're beating the AI and you just find it too easy and not fun, bump the difficulty up. Yeah, they're going to get a bonus, but it's going to take it, or it's just basically considered they're playing a little bit better than they are. The devs will improve the AI over time. There's quite a few improvements throughout the course of the beta. Hey, victory conditions. I made a mistake on my personal playthrough, and I turned off diplomatic because it's like, oh, I win diplomatic all the time. I kind of got in a situation where I actually allied with one of my allies, and then I couldn't win the game without going for a different victory type, and I ended up having to do the spell making. But just careful which ones you turn off. You want to be able to actually win, at least for the victory conditions. But going through this, that's probably not important for everyone. You have the conquest. Basically, you beat everyone up. You have diplomatic. This is you ally with, as if you're allied with everyone that remains on the map, then you win diplomatic. Master Quest has a quest stamp and has I think 3 quests that you do, and that can be a lot of fun. I haven't done it since 2013, so I don't know how well it is. Maybe I'll try approach it this time, but we'll see. I know it ends with fighting. I don't want to spoil it. It ends with a pretty final battle. Spell making is basically your tech victory. It's a spell mastery thing from Master of Magic. But it's more of a tech victory. You research all the techs, then you have to build something. Basically, Elemental's version of building a spaceship. You build these towers, and then you have to start casting the spell of mastery and your spell making. All right, customize opponents. I might actually. This is one of mine, but I am going to actually bring in the Oracle because she's crazy. But then I throw the balance off. Let me see here. I like the Oracle because she just fights everyone. And I'll kind of explain why a little later here. Actually, I'll probably just have it unbalanced. So, yeah, you can set up opponents. There's more opponents. You have the old leaders from the leader pack, which might still be added to the game. I think they are, but they're trying to do the arts. I know General Tarth pretty late actually got a new model. So, but you can play against the other leaders. Here, actually, I might add Sanjo. I'll just have it run on the same one. Let's add Sanjo. Where'd she go? There we go. Okay, so now we will be done and we'll click play. Okay, here's a reminder that Control S is your quick save. F9 is quick load, but it's not quite working. Came in very late. Like the last build broke it, and so it's got to be fixed again. Alright, here's her backstory. I'm not going to go into it right now. You can read it on your own. Alright, so you come into the map and you see all these numbers. What do these numbers mean? And this is the kind of your base tile, and a lot of how the city functions is going to be based on this. There's 3 numbers, and you can see all 3 here. You don't always get all 3. Sometimes you're missing the blue one. So the green one is your grain, your brown one is your materials, and your blue one is your essence, or sorry, radiance. It changed. So So radiance is your blue, and that allows you to enchant. Essence, grain allows you to do food. I'll kind of explain this more. So we have this set up, and you'll see. Okay, we have a 2-5, which is 2 food, 5 materials, and then one. This one's a 3-3-1. If you look at all the numbers, one thing you're going to notice that if there's 3 materials, that's the smallest value you can get, I believe. Pretty sure that's correct. Now these numbers are not random. They are always kind of letting you know about different things around them. I'm just going to explore a little bit. I'm going to actually reload. But it's based on the other things around the tile. These 5s that are showing up here, that's because of this forest. The more space that's cleared with plains is going to add grain. There's some resources that add essence, and for some reason I can't think of why this actually has an essence tile. But so now I'm playing Procipinee, so she basically revives the land with life magic, and then this is land that's been revived with death magic. It's pretty random at the beginning which one's which, but whichever faction you are is going to determine kind of the background color. Now, if you don't like a map, you can do Control N, and I'm just doing it for the sake of doing it, and it'll recreate the world. I would not. I think it's for some people they have to have the perfect map set up. I would say, especially early on, just play the map and see what happens. It can be quite annoying, and you may find something about the game that you didn't know by playing different map styles. So I strongly consider, but I can't tell you what to do. All right, so here's another map, and this actually is great to have here because now I can explain a couple things. So in addition, you have your tiles. You have a forest here, and forest allows you to build lumber mills, and this river here allows you to build piers and stuff like that. So now you have to be adjacent to each of these. There is a thing called a snaking mod that was really popular, and some people have restored it, but it kind of fixes some of this. But you basically, assume you need a lumber mill or forest adjacent to your city tile to build a lumber mill, and same thing for a pier, for a river. All right, so when you find a tile, we have a 3-3-1, 3-3, 2-4, stuff like that. I may reload one more time because I actually want to have a setup for tutorial purposes that I can explain some stuff.
You are Procipinee.
I might have turned my magic slider up. This is better. Not quite what I was trying to go for. Let's do it one more time. For the tutorial purposes, I want 2 essence. At least. If I get 3, cool. But,
You are Procipinee, sole survivor.
There we go. Okay. So, looking at these tiles, we have a 4-3-2. This is probably the most balanced tile, and the one I kind of look for. Now, a lot of people like 3-3-3. I would say actually a 3-4-2 is better than a 3-3-3. Someone will disagree because you're getting that production. The other thing, there's actually a 2-3-4, and what I mean by that, I'm counting these values. So 4-3-2. So you'll see this on the forums a lot when people talk about, oh, I got 3-3-3. This is what they're referring to as these numbers. So once you find a city spot to settle, and just for here, the sake of doing this, I am going to, do I want to adjust this at all? I'm actually going to move one tile away. And the reason is this gives me a little bit more building area and still 432. It does mean I won't get the Crystal Crag right in my city borders, but that's okay. Alright, so we have 432, and you can hit the B key to settle. And then you get a little cutscene. This is only for your first city. Okay. Now, so once your city's settled, you're sovereign. Now, if you played earlier builds of Fallen Enchantress, you may notice you don't have the Spearmen or the Militia right away, and that's one of the changes. They wanted to go back to where you just started off with just your Sovereign build from scratch. Now, you can play Bandit Lord if you want two bandits for defending, but we'll kind of go through it. So now, a couple things now that I have my city here, we'll look at Procipinee. Now she has a weak, very weak attack, and part of that is because of this weak trait, -2 attack. And then she just this weapon is very bad. The Queen's Staff. It's probably the worst weapon in the game. 4 attack, -1 crit. So we'll want to replace that as soon as possible. Now, with Procipinee, you have to be careful in the early game because you don't have a lot of attack. She's very weak in the melee side. Most other mages could actually hold their own, at least for a little while in melee combat. Her, no. She'll do 1 or 2 damage, if that. All right, so we'll want to look at getting some troops to help her out, and then also grabbing, not fighting. Even a might can give her a little bit of a hard time. Now I could use some magic, that too. Now, a couple things for the early game. I strongly recommend you cast Scholar Sanctum before anything else. You don't have to, but I recommend casting Meditation, and that'll give you a little bit more mana, and then Scholar Sanctum. The reason is it gives you 2 research, and this is going to greatly speed up your your research in the early game. Because looking at it right now, without changing anything, one of the first texts takes 18 turns. Now, if you, I'm going to select knowledge here. Now, that's 18 turns because I have 1 research per turn, and now I even have 1. I have actually 0.8. If I lower, so just want to show here, knowledge is 18. If I lower my taxes, it's now 15 turns. If I cast Scholar Sanctum, it's like 5 turns. So what I would say is, if it takes, use this as a guide. If it takes longer than, or for mini techs, if it's longer than 5 turns, you need more. Just try to get more research. Use that as a kind of a ballpark. After that, you can sometimes get, but you really need to do some heavy investing in research to do better than 5. But kind of use that as a guideline here. So I have 15 knowledge, or it's going to take 15 turns, and I'm going to wait. I'm not going to cast any spells in the beginning because I want 45 mana. Also, taxes. The way taxes work, or if you go to your city here, and I see Gildar, I'm making 2 Gildar per turn, but I'm not making any money. I'm making 0, and the reason is because I'm taxing 0%. You don't get the money that when you add Gildar per turn, which is gold. When you add Gildar per turn, you get the percentage that you tax. Which is now a good time to kind of talk about cities here. So I cast Meditation here, and what Meditation does is if I go in my spell book and look at it, there's a ton of spells, but Meditation does 1 mana per radiance in the Enchanted City. So I have a uh, this city. I have 2 essence, and I can find by the number of slots, or I can look here, or not essence, radiance. I'll never get that right. 2 radiance, so I get 2 mana. So this is one way to increase your mana production is get a lot of cities here with more essence. Radiance. I already messed it up. So here we go. Now look at say let's just look at all the stats I see. So right here you have the name. You have this number. This is the number of militia. They fight for you when you get attacked. They're the defenders. They are not strong. They aren't going to probably take anything that's too big out, but they'll hold their own. But more importantly, if you're defending, they join. You get extra troops for the defense. Here's the name of the civilization. Here's the level of the village. The way towns level up is based on their population. So when you get to level or 50 population, you become level 2. And each level you get like a level up bonus. I started with 30 population. That's pretty standard. And I have an unrest of 13. If I hover over it, the reason why it's 13 is I have no taxes, so I have the unrest penalty for no taxes is 10%, and then I have 1 city, which is 3% per city. So at the beginning it's 13%. This means it'll take 13% off of my production and research. Growth, the way growth works is it's basically the difference between your food and your population. If you have twice as much food as your population, um, surplus is the key. If you have twice as much surplus food as population, you gain 2. Your natural growth rate is 2. If you have 3 times as much surplus food to your population, you get 3 base growth, and that's the highest you could get for base. All right, one moment. All right. Sorry. So that is unrest growth grain here. These are your. This is a 432. This is just where you see that. Now these can improve based on what you see on the map with outpost. And then Gildar. This is just showing how much. This is your inputs and stuff. This is your outputs. So I'm not getting any Gildar per turn, and the reason is my taxes is 0%. And then we have research. Research is affected by unrest. With the village, we got 1 point of natural research, and then it's reduced by 13%. And it is rounded, but it's actually calculate or figures the actual value. I think it goes to the 6th place. Ooh, excuse me. All right, mana. Because I have meditation, I get +2 mana. Food. Um, this is how food is calculated. At the beginning of the game, you get 25 food per grain. So I take my grain 4 and I times it by 25, which is 100, and then I subtract 30 population. So that's my surplus food. And all this stuff's in the tooltips too. And then production is another one. It starts off with 8 materials per production, and then so 8 times 3 is 24, and then it's reduced by 13% unrest. So just looking at the screen, you kind of see all the all the numbers interact. So for research and production, I want low unrest, and then for all those, Gildar is just based on the Gildar total. Under research is based on just your flat research. Food is, it takes grain into account, and your food per grain, which is another stat. And then production is production per materials times um, materials. All right. Now, at the beginning of the game, you're going to see, or we're going to build something here first. Okay, so at the very beginning, you got a couple choices. I might actually click training, and I might train a militia, because Procipinee cannot fight in melee at all. She has very weak attack. Even if I give her a good weapon, but also just having at least one defender. Now this is going to increase wages, and then I'll start running a deficit. But it's totally worth it to get at least one or two militia out right away, and gaining experience. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build the Tower Dominion, and what this gives you fame, and fame gives you basically their points to recruit champions. You don't lose fame except for if there's a special case which we won't see in this game, but if you like Scions and Altar's henchmen, um, you can lower fame, but for the most part, it always increases. Um, so fame is really important to gain your first champion, but you don't get your first champion until you get to 10 fame, and then that also unlocks the dynasty system. And I'll go in a little bit more, but before I do that, a couple more things with the UI. Up here we have the Gildar plus, it'll say a plus if it's increasing or decreasing, or a minus if it's decreasing. Here's your research. Here is Essence, and Essence now is the resource for one imbuing your children to be champions, as well as how many cities you can have. They share the same resource. Excuse me. They share the same resource, but it's pretty important. This is kind of like your, uh, you know, I believe the way the story goes is you have your channelers. There's a big cataclysm. They all fought, and magic was thrown around, and they caused a cataclysm, and then channelers are basically rebuilding the planet. And here is the kind of your magical power that you can imbue. This is not super restrictive. Um, if you haven't played this before, some people look at it like, oh, I can only have 10 cities on the biggest map. No, you can increase this, yeah, pretty easily. And I forget what spell traits does she have. She has life magic, right? Yes, she does. Okay, life magic and death magic both have soul ascension, which basically when you cast it, you get more essence. So once you get your economy going, you get more. Up here, I also have my mana. If you click on this, you can also, it's a shortcut to your ledger for your mana. And same thing with Gildar for gold. You can kind of see all this. These stats are kind of important to see what's going on here. But this is also where you dispel all your enchants if you need to. All right, here's season. Season is also another word for turn. And they use a season system to do time. I'm not necessarily. Don't get too wrapped up in season. Okay, here's our faction power, which is none because I haven't really done anything. And then over here you have your basically your what does Paradox call their thing? The outliner. This is basically the outliner. You have your units and your cities, and then there will be quests underneath. So think of this as the outliner. Down here we have the kind of the unit or city frame stuff like that, where you can get a bunch of stats, everything like that down there. But you also have the uh, these are fairly context sensitive, so depending on what you click on, you'll have different options. You have, like, for the champion, we have equip, we have shop. Just so you know, you can shop. Click here, you can go to the shop, buy different items. This part's kind of an RPG, and you're not limited to shopping in your own region. You can, as long as you're not enemies with another faction, you can buy stuff from them. Okay, then you have explore, auto explore. I never do auto explore. Um, I that's just a good way to forget about a unit and find out you just triggered something. I just, no game do I put auto explore. To me, it's kind of silly. Guard. This is if you don't want a unit to give orders unit for a while and you just want to keep them on alert. You can have them guard. Pass basically just skips this turn. Rename. You can rename pretty much any city. Or you can't do the. Okay, you can rename any unit that you want. I was checking because in some Star Trek games you can actually rename anything, but it doesn't look like that's the case. And then disband. If you want to disband, you can hit the delete key. If your maintenance gets too high, stuff like that. Down here we have the spellbook icon, and there's a lot of spells. So I have a shadow work. She's not a summoner, is she? Oh, I guess she is. Okay. I never played Procipinee. Yeah, so she's summoner. I just didn't know she got the shadow word. So spellbook icon or the M key. Then we have the crafting menu, and you can see all the items to craft and the crafting components. If you don't see the item here, you could probably just sell it. You will get recipes later on, and a lot of the ingredients for things are fairly common. But you can see kind of different things, like getting the staff of the furnace, which actually doesn't look too terrible to get. The late staff or something like that, Crown of Magic. Basically, it's a duplicate of the Precipinee's or Precipinee's crown. So you can give all your champions like unlimited enchantments if you craft some of these. Fireball scrolls, lightning storm, death ward scrolls. Some of these materials are very easy to come by. Now, for those that come into the game and be like, I get tons of tilde herbs, this is the potion that you want to craft to build more cities. So if you just throw away all your tilde herbs, you're actually say, hey, I feel too limited on cities. Well, I might say, where's your tilde herbs, and did you craft these potions? Crystal flag and crystal. Now I bring this up because this is one of the big posts that's going on Steam right now. A lot of people are like, "Oh, there's too many of these." This is for a reason. So, you have the option to craft these things, and then it's a great healing item too, right? Mana potions. They don't give you that much mana, but sometimes it's enough to get, if you need an edge. They're pretty weak. I'm not even sure if there's an upgrade. This is a spell mastery potion. Notice it uses stilled herbs. I think that's used all the time. Amulet of sorcery, 20 spell resist, ring of mastery. This is not doesn't multiply your damage by 25. Unfortunately, it's just a little bit of a bug. And then you can scroll down the list here, just so you know. Sometimes getting the cloudy diamond, a lot of people don't know. I have brought this up. It just needs to be a little bit clearer. Looks like someone joined. Welcome. If you have any questions, please post in the chat. I'm here to help. All right. Let's see. We're still on turn 1. Let's see. I've covered up. No, I haven't quite covered everything. Scratch menu, Kingdom Report. This kind of looks at your victory conditions. Some people are asking about endless game. Not many game. This is just a medium map, and it's 2,000 turns. Not many games let you go that far in the first place. Larger maps will do more turns, and then you can just mod it. So if you want an endless game, you can have one. It's pretty endless. Right, and then this is your victory statuses for everything, and then here's your quest log if you have quests. Alright, over here we have Dynasty, and I'll explain this a little bit more when I get to 10 Fame. Foreign Relations, I have to meet someone, so I'll come back to that. And the Unit Designer, which once I design units, I'll come back to that. So, alright, I still have some movement points left here. What I'm going to do is just grab the free loot. That's usually what I recommend. Try to get some good items. Change her would be great, but there's no way she's getting that. Or using that. She will never see chain. She's going to be definitely a mage. Alright. Let's come over here. Now I'm at 43 mana, and I'm saving to 45. Alright. Potion Might. Okay, so now here we have a champion on the map. So what this icon, there's two different icons. You're gonna see some champions are loyal to the kingdom and some champions are loyal to the empire. If it has this blue icon with this figure with a shield, this is a champion for your side, and you can recruit them. Now, depending on their level, and each champion is a little bit different, is going to determine how much fame you need to recruit them. So to find that out, you have to walk up to them and click on them and click recruit. And it says, I need 8 fame to recruit them. And then you're going to need some money afterwards. So once I get to 8 fame, I can recruit this champion. And this is one of the new changes with Elemental Reforged that they want to do, is they want to get away from the, here, just pick 3 champions that walk up and, pick one to join you. Like, Pokemon. And you're being Professor Oak and you got 3 Pokemon choose. They're trying to get away from that. So that the goal is actually that all the champions would be on the map, but right now you still get them through fame, but they're a lot they take longer. In fact, in Fallen Enchantress Legendary Heroes, you got your first champion at 3 fame. Now you get 10, and don't get up in arms with this. You get a lot more champions from fame than you ever did in Fallen Enchantress, just not the first one. Because first one now is 10, and then it's 25, and then it's 75. Before it was like 10, 50, and then something. I forget what. Or no, 350, and then I don't remember where it went after that. All right, so I'm at 46 mana. And so first thing I like to cast this first is Scholar Sanctum. And before I do that, so we're at 13 knowledge. We're going to cast Scholar Sanctum, which is going to add 2 more research per turn, and now it's 5. So that I always kind of recommend. You don't have to do that, but keeping your research going is very important. You don't need to be necessarily setting up your research so you're just uh, everything's in like 2 turns. You don't have to be that fast, but okay. Now we see. I think they were here the whole time, but we gotta keep watch for these guys, but because they're not necessarily um, they're not just hanging out there. They're not actually part of a lair. They could actually walk up and attack my city. Now I'm not worried about 2 mites, but um, since they're not part of a lair, they are roaming. All right. Let's see. Still got a couple turns waiting for militia. We got better research going, and I think I'll explore a little bit, but I want to still stay somewhat near the city. Okay, they moved over here. Okay. Now, I just kind of scouted over here. I have a couple quest areas. I got a cave bear, iron river. But now I'm gonna actually run up here because I'm gonna start clearing some of these camps out up here with this militia that's about to pop. Okay, so now I have a militia, and notice there's 3 figures here. And this is gonna be important in combat here. So let's look at the unit page here. Movement, how many movement speed? This is their equipment and inventory, and you can add to that as you will. Um, Hit points, and if you hover over it, you notice that they have a base hit points of 6 plus 2 per level. It's a level 1, so it's a base of 8 times 3, and that's because there's 3 figures. Now, as once I lose that 8 hit points, one of the figures dies, and then that's going to affect all my other stats. Moves is how many moves you can do. Initiative is basically determines the attack order. The best explanation I have for initiatives, if you played a game like Tactics Ogre or Final Fantasy Tactics, it's very similar to that. Basically, think of it as like a pool of you have an initiative pool, and you take your initiative and you throw it in a bucket. Once that bucket's overflowing, your unit gets to attack. Now this is probably the most deceptive thing in the game, because of how it works with defense. It is not 18 attack. This is a unit with 6 attack with 3 6 attacks, and this is important because of defense. Because each of those compares against the defense. And Master of Magic did work this way, but Age of Wonders, your whole just considers your whole attack. Now this is very important, because if you're looking at this, you might avoid a battle that you can probably beat easily if you're not look at this. Accuracy. Now I'm not 100% sure, but I believe each figure does its own accuracy roll. That might not necessarily be the case. It might just do 1 roll for accuracy, and that I was looking at it, and just I know the numbers wasn't quite when you deal with multiple figures, not quite what I was expecting. So I kind of came to the conclusion. I think they're all rolling the accuracy, but basically your chance to land melee hits. Or just actually land attacks that aren't spells in battle, and range staffs count use accuracy. Defense, I'll explain that a little bit more, but the combat formula is attack, take attack to the power of 2 divided by attack plus defense. What's important though is when you attack, let's say I have 5 defense, it's factoring in per figure. Dodge's chance to dodge just basically works against accuracy. Spell resist and spell mastery are related. Spell mastery is basically accuracy with spells. and spell resist is your dodge with spells or whatnot. Experience every unit in the game levels up, and as they level up, they gain more stats. If you hover over this, it says I get 1 spell resist, and so I get 1 right now because it's a level 1 unit. So the more it levels up, the better. Low level units are really weak, and so if you don't train your units early enough, and something big happens, your army of nobodies or your noob army will kind of get wiped out. They can still survive, but and then you can get a backstory. They put the backstory in for all the units, at least most of them. But you can get kind of no, this is just a foot soldier. So, but if you want to read some of that, you can get some of the lore. All right. So I'm gonna combine these two by clicking on one, moving it to the other, and then if I look here, I have these locks and these spaces. What this this is just going to determine how many units the army total is how many units I can have. So I have room for 6 units. I'm actually surprised. Wondering if something changed. Interesting. I would actually expect it to be 4. So it might be something unique to Procipinee, and I just wasn't paying attention. But now these units combine, and then we have the click on unit, and we have this. If there's one thing I want everyone to do is just ignore this threat level indicator. This is your attack rating in like Age of Wonders. It's just factoring in attack speed, all that stuff. It's not going to give you an accurate idea, of how you're going to do. You can beat a lot, so if a group of epic units land, it doesn't mean that they're super hard. There's many ways of breaking an encounter. All right, and then there's a news report that the militia was trained. All right. So you have 2 movement, and if you hover over a tile, you can kind of see how much movement. So if it's 1 movement, it takes every tile it costs 1 movement point, but sometimes you only get half of the value, so it's 0.5, and sometimes they're impassable. All right, so now we're going to go on our first combat. Here's a summary screen. Just it's a good place to kind of look at like what you're up against if you didn't catch it earlier. But don't look at these threat levels if too deeply. Don't even look at the attack levels or pretty much everything. A lot of it you'll just it's more better to experience the fight, see how it works. This is a couple mites here, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just walk up, click on the tile, walk up and attack. And her attack was dodged. Okay. So she's got another attack here. I'm gonna just move, attack. She did 1 damage. Like I said, very weak melee. So let's look at how damage calculates. So if I look here, I see, okay, I have 18 attack. Well, that's not 18 attack. It's 6 attacks or 3 attacks of 6. So if I hover over here, I look at the outgoing attack. If you look at bottom right, I can't show you because of the hovering. You'll see that hit chance is 61%, which my accuracy is 61%, and then if there's dodge, it subtracts from it. So accuracy is 61%, and then damage is 3 to 6 damage. So times 3. So what it's saying is with my 18 attack, it's actually 6 attack, and basically if they have no defense, which I can see I'll show on my. So the tag is basically the same here. We have attack, defense, initiative, accuracy, You know, you can hover over these two. But if basically if you do an attack against someone who has 0 defense, your maximum damage is your full attack score on outside of crits. Your minimum damage is half that. And how again, it's attack to the power of 2 divided by, and then parentheses, attack plus defense close parentheses. So you know that's you know, the more defense you have, the better. When they were guarding, they actually were going to take less damage because they have 5 defense in that case. But because they attacked, they're no longer guarding. So if I walk up, I can do basically an average about 5 damage 3 times. So maybe 15 damage, but it's not going to necessarily be that because it's a 60% chance to hit. So we'll just walk up and we did 6 damage. Now 3 times 3 is definitely not 3 times 3 is 9, and I did 6 damage. So why is the case? Well, this is where the accuracy comes in. Each attack has its own accuracy value, so or has to make its own chance to hit. So this is why I don't like the idea of 18 attack in the UI because it's not quite accurate, and you know, like 18 attack could be 9 to 18 damage against target with no defense, but that's very different when you're doing 3 attacks. So if you fail 1 attack with 18, you don't get anything of it. But if you fail, you know, it's kind of how it works. So the one thing is the attack value doesn't go very high usually per unit, but the number of units usually increases. So just kind of keep that in mind. You know how damage it. You know, don't consider when you're looking at the attack scores how many figures they have. All right, Procipinee is gonna walk up and do nothing. Oh, she crit. She crit for like 2 damage. I don't even remember how much crit does. I think double damage. All right, there we go. Nice, big, accurate. 15 damage on that last hit. All right, here's our results here. We have details if you want to review the log here, see what kind of happened if you missed it. And then you got results. Now, a couple things here. Notice that the militia get half the experience of the leader. Now, leader can, this is before any other calculations like experience bonuses. And how that's calculated is basically based on, it does a combat rating score, and then there's actually a document on the wiki that explains it. But one thing to know is the soldiers get half of the experience of the leader. Now, if I add a second leader, there's an experience split if you add more than one champion, and they share experience, but then the soldiers get even half of that too. So you gotta be careful on the experience splits, and I'll be a little bit more about that later. All right, so killed our first target. I got most of the level. I can see here that I'm need 1 more experience points to level. I can tell you every time that, well, depending on difficulty, that the 2 mites will not level you. How important is that? I have no idea. It's just something I think about all the time because I'm crazy. All right. Nosa Tower Dominion is being built. Let's see. And we'll do basically same battle here. I'm going to walk up now. I actually have no problem. I trying to spread the damage here. For weak hits, I will let the champion tank. Because every 8 damage, I lose 1 of these figures. Now, I'm intentionally not using spells right now, just for a little bit. There's a point where I just start throwing spells like crazy. All right, so she's level 2, but they didn't hit level 2 yet, and they gain experience. I believe the same rate as a champion, just they get half of as much experience as your champions. All right, now we pick a. This is okay. So this is not a class. This is a path, basically. So like a class, like the popular one is Paladin. Paladin is basically a defender with life magic. Um, so mage is pretty much path. It's kind of your general role with them. So you have assassins. They basically have a lot of stats for melee and ranged attacks. Get in there. They're they're kind of single target attackers. They're there to kill off a mob really quickly. Defender is basically there to outlast whatever they're defending against. Ugh. And one thing with defenders is one of the best things you can do with a defender is defend and have a weapon that does counterattacks, because they get a lot of bonuses for when they're defending. Commander is it serves two main purposes. It's your generals for your armies, and they have accuracy bonuses, experience bonuses, and initiative bonuses, a lot of stuff like that. And then they can be a governor, and what a governor does is it boosts the stats of a city. I am here at mage. I think everyone knows what mage does. They cast spells. They get a lot more spells, and then they also get a mana 25% mana cost reduction. So if something costs 10 mana, it'll cost 8 after rounding. And then a warrior, they gain 5 attack just for picking warrior. Now warriors are good for a lot of AoE attacks, and kind of attacking targets with high defense. Breaking, kind of breaking encounters. Assassins, on the other hand, they're best for attacking squishy targets. Later on, they do get an ability to attack against something with and consider like that their target doesn't have armor, but kind of for the most part, assassins are your single target attackers. Defenders are your AoE attackers. Assassins are better against squishy targets. Warriors are better against heavily armored targets. Okay, we're going to pick mage. Okay, when I gain the next level up, we'll look at the talent trees. Alright, looking over here. Now, one thing I'd say is, just because if you've played Age of Wonders, you may be tempted to just basically just click on everything and attack everything and not worry about it. Age of Wonders is actually very simple. A lot of the fights are very similar, and they're all scaled. In here, you can fight, or you can have an army pretty close that could really mess up your day. So you kind of want to learn, or not pick fights that you can't handle. All right. Okay, so right now I have 0 fame. I'm going to go to this tile, clear layer, and I get 1 fame. So it shows I get 1 common item and 1 fame from clearing that layer, and I get a champion's map. It shows the champion on the map. So click the champion map, and it probably will show a champion I already have. It won't. I don't think it'll show it till the next turn though. Oh no, it showed it here. Okay, so then it shows champion. Well, show the other guy's champion. So here's a level 9 unit. Now I can walk around and kill him and prevent him being recruited by the other faction. Alright, right, let's do a different color. So we're not doing mites here. We got a wolf and a bandit. And then we have our militia. So bandit, what's going to happen is I'll start the fight, and probably will see the wolf first. The wolf probably get attacked first. Nope, Procipinee actually goes because she has 32 initiative. This wolf has 21 initiative. Now this bandit has 19, and then my militia, he's really slow. He has 16. So now it's not a 1-for-1 target. If you lap the target in the order, you get to go an extra time. Alright, so she's up here now. There is a zone of control rule, and if I were to move here, nothing could come up this lane. And then, but this wolf can run around this way. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's militia here, so I'll run up here, and well, you know, I became a mage. Let's look at our spells. I have haste, which is now cost 4 mana. I think it was 5 before. We have slow. I have potion of might, and I can click spells and I get more spells. Now these numbers means hotkeys, so I can make hotkeys out of these. Now I'm not going to cast spell because I know I can just easily beat this. There'll be plenty of time for casting spells. It's not just going to be right now though. Okay, ping means you did 1 damage. Alright. And what I would like to do is prevent the wolf. Actually, if I click on the wolf, has this ability called Pack Tactics, and every this is like flanking in other games, like the swarm bonus. Think flanking when you're doing swarm. So if wolves get double the flanking bonus, so by moving over here, I prevented this unit from getting to this militia right now, so it couldn't do its swarm bonus. Okay, we'll move here, and then I might have these. I have a 61% chance to hit 3 times. Only did 6 damage, which means out of the 3, only 1, maybe 2 hit, but not all of them. All right, now there's no way I can prevent a flank from this ruffian, you know, on the next turn. The next is, well, actually no, look at the order here. The wolf goes, and then the bandit, and then I could probably just smack with the staff a little bit. And now these two, they kind of ganged up, and they knocked down one of his figures. So this had 18 attack before, but because I lost 1 figure, I lost 6 attack. Now his attack rate, or his damage, is 2 attacks of 6. So I can only do 6 to 12 damage against a defenseless target. All right. Let's see. I'm going to finish the wolf off, and there we go. Okay, now my militia leveled, and by leveling he gains a little bit more experience, but there's it's probably a good time to explain this now. So looking at this militia party and hovering over his hit points, base hit points is 6 plus a level bonus of 4. So every level you gain 2 hit points, and then you multiply it by 3. So this becomes important when considering some enemies. When you're looking at the hit points, is how many units they have. But basically the soldiers will have more hit points than the champions, because they can get up to 6 figures later on. Now I am a little beaten up. I could use a tilde herb, which I'm not, but every turn we'll just see here. He has 11 hit points. We'll move over here. I'm going to pick shard harvesting. And now on this turn, it went from 11 to 13 hit points. I think it was 11, so it looks like maybe 2 hit points per level. Or was it 10? Now I don't know. I'll find out. Oh, okay, so because I was looking at them, I actually clicked off. So this is actually a note. You have to have a champion to get loot. And you can fight layers, but you can't loot the lair. Alright, enchanted backpack. I'm going to equip that. Now here's the equipment screen here. Found right here. Equip that, and then equip the backpack, and here's the accessory slots and then the armor slots. So equip in one of the accessory slots. And then see this little number here says I can craft something. So we have Death Ward Scroll. I'm not going to craft that right now, but that basically means if you die, you come back with half your hit points on whatever unit it's cast on. Alright, let's see, I think. Oh, I kind of made a mistake here. But she goes next anyway, so I always try to move in a way that I can attack as many targets as possible and defend the targets that are heavily damaged. Procipinee is weak. Alright, now that I've leveled up, I've now become, level 3 mage. And so then this is where you kind of specialize your. So you have 2 tabs. You have your general tab. This is where you find the spell casting traits. This is generic. And what we have is we have a experience bonus, tinker, equip an additional accessory. I actually wonder something about that. I have to play around with that. Strength, +2 strength, which, she's really weak. It might, an idea. I'm not going to do it because she's going to be a spellcaster. Adventurous Boon gives 10 hit points. Healer, this is pretty nice. You gain 3 hit points. Health regeneration per level. And that's per figure too, I believe. And First Aid, basically is a combat heal. That's pretty nice. Inner Radiance, basically trade a talent point for a point of essence. I wouldn't recommend that. Initiative 1 and 2, just add some stats. Good. And then these two are always based on what race that you are. So here I can basically use a Arcane Bond ability to gain some stamina. And then Amaran Legacy is basically doubles the damage of Soul Spark. And here is the more stuff. This is your mage path. And you'll see a lot of different things here. Now, there's a lot of different types of mages. So first thing we have is we have knowledge, and then we have aeromancy. And it gives you Lightning Bolt, Obscuring Frog, Gust of Wind. And then you have, this is Spell Mastery, and you want to get Spell Mastery up pretty early for a mage. Especially once you start, I would say, I'd probably try to get to the level 3 talent first. So you get one of the counter spells. Which in this case I'm going to be going that route. And then I'd probably jump and unlock the Spell Mastery. You can pick one of these things, but I'd say try to get all these Spell Mastery perks pretty soon, and then you have Savant that reduces cast time. Down here you have Hydromancy, as a couple spells. I don't really use those too much. Geomancy. Pull of Earth is amazing. You can. That's a great CC ability. Sun, like the Geomancy is just nice in general. Um, then we got Pyromancy, and then down here we have summons. Now, if this is this part here, these two are going to depend on what faction you are. You have for Empire factions, you have Necromancy and Greater Necromancy. Then here is Summon Wisp and Summon Lightbringer. These are pretty weak compared to the others, but if you want to do you know, a lot of summons. Now she is a summoner. You know, it's one thing to consider. But first thing I would say for a mage, what I want is this Mantle of Oceans ability, but I need to be level 5. And Mantle of Oceans basically lowers all the tactical spellcasting cost by 40%. So you start with just being a mage for 25%, and then you take another 40% off, and then you start getting robes. Can make the mana cost for casting spells very cheap. Not sure if it's possible. You might be able to make it free, just cast in combat. But I might pick up this. Is going to give me access to freeze. Freeze is a strategic CC ability. It's amazing. Get units with freeze. This is how you lock down something that's going to probably wreck your day until you get time to deal with it. But and then chaos is it gets slow targets. It does as a bunch of, it's like a wild magic spell. But I might get that first, and then you know, I'm gonna plan on level 5 hitting again Mantle of Oceans. So I'm already level 3. So next level I'll be able to pick one talent. I think I might get knowledge. So then I can get Water Mage, and then since I'll have knowledge, I'm gonna get Aeromancy. Then I might pick up the 3 spellcasting traits, and then work from there. I could also go. Well, I really want knowledge because its experience bonus is really nice. But I also can go summons too. Okay, Water Mage. Alright. Alright, and these spiders here, they have 6 attack and 6 defense. Now, I'm not going to fight them right now. But I'd rather have not when I have a really beaten up unit. So I'll leave that for now. So I'm going to skip that. And then I'm going to fight this bandit army instead. Now, I have this Procipinee's crown, and what that means is I can cast spells on Procipinee without using a maintenance. So what I might add to her is I might put cast evade and courage. So courage adds a bonus of 3 hit points plus 1 per life shard to spell resistance and hit points. So extra hit points for her, and then evade is dodge based on air spells. So let's see, I think I'm casting courage was the other one. And then, you know, looking here now, she has 6 dodge, and this will go up. But you know, definitely want to cast buffs on Procipinee. You can cast evade on everyone. Some of them are champion only. Alright, I've now leveled up to level 2. I now have 50 population, so I have a conclave. Now, the three types of cities, you have Conclave, Fortress, and Town. Conclave is your research and mana regeneration city. Fortress is basically your unit production city. Town is Gildar, gold and food city. So I might do Conclave first, get my research going, speeds that up a little bit. Next turn I'll complete that. And one thing I see here is I see a little bit of some mites. Now, I know my defenders can probably handle mites, so I'm not racing back quite yet. What I want to do is get to 10 fame. All right. Now notice that they actually could be a little bit of a problem here. So they ran up, they tend to run after the weakest unit, the one with the lowest hit points. So kind of keep that in mind. Now I know they're attacked. This unit's beaten up. What I want to do is a healing item. I'll probably just use this healing potion. And now right now it has one figure. And I'll move away a bit here, and I'm gonna use a healing potion. And it doesn't show it right now, but there's actually 3 figures there. It's not great. It doesn't update, unfortunately, until after they attack. But there's back to 3 militia again. So healing spells are really nice for damage. So he got hit, so then it updated. Okay. So now that I have 3 again, and I'm not at risk of losing, like whatever you do, try not to lose any units early on. Oh, she is so weak. Because as these other units level up, wow, that was full damage. As these units level up, they can be quite resilient. Okay, Arctic Cloak. So click her, equip that. And see, I think I'm doing pretty good, so alright. Oh wow, this is nice. Leatherworking, 9 turns remain. This gives you 15 research. So now it's 6. So it's shaved about 3 turns off. Okay, and then I attack. Now one thing is when you attack, you don't move on to the tile afterwards. Now, what I might do now is I'm going to do a couple things. I don't want these bandits necessarily running up. I don't know if I can prevent this anyways. I don't want them running up and flanking my militia. I don't think this is going to help at all, but I'm going to move over here. Now, the way the zone control works is each of these tiles around her, if they move in that tile, their turn stops. But if they're in the tile, they get to move out. So we'll cast haste. Now, instead of these bandits going first, this one, or only one bandit goes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attack on the opposite side here. And then instead of running over and beating up, both those guys beating up my militia, just one does. And then I'm going to go over here, I'm going to kind of have her finish off that one. And then what I try to keep these kind of one-on-one fights. Now, I don't have to worry he can't get to my militia. Oh, he's gonna throw a dagger though. Alright, now we're back to danger again. Alright, he's out of stamina, so I'm gonna move him over here and I'm gonna defend. And then now I can put her in the way and kind of use Procipinee to kind of prevent my militia from being killed. Because if it's killed, then I lose all of its experience invested. Now, unfortunately, AI is just like bloodthirsty, and they'll just chase after a target, even though it could be attacking Procipinee. It's just how its AI is. Oh, it's gonna throw a dagger. Oh, okay. Oh my goodness. Alright, I think I'm gonna use a tilde herb. I could move first. Because normally I have a sword and can actually do decent damage. But not, right now these militia are going to be my highest damage dealers. Alright, Alright, I'm out of movement points because you don't move onto the tile afterwards. And next turn. Alright, so we have some enemies. Now there's 2 militia. Hoping I don't lose town on stream, that would be embarrassing. Soldier's boots, and we'll attack this mite. Okay. Now they don't always, their movement is somewhat random. They don't always beeline towards your city. Sometimes they do, but it can be fairly random. So just because they're nearby doesn't mean they're going to attack your city. Alright, now because I got that little bit extra fame, now I can choose a champion. And this part might go away. Like I said, this is like your choose a Pokemon type thing. You know, choose your champion. So a couple things here. First thing, you have your unit specialization. They don't, if it's set like this, they have no specialization. That means you can specialize them. You have your spell book. So if they, and this adds to your spells that you can cast on the strategic spells as well as what they bring in combat. Here's their what type of blood. Alteran basically has rush and a 10% experience boost, and then here's another one. Basically, they're both Alterans. And then we have their spellcasting trait. She's a water apprentice. He's an earth apprentice. And then other abilities. She has 2 research per turn when stationed in the city, and minus 10% unrest when stays in. Both of these spells are both of these are commander traits, so she basically gets 2 free levels. But I might pick Inslow because Inslow is an earth caster, and not only does it give me useful spells, um, there there's some pretty nice earth magic abilities that's just kind of good to have. So I'm gonna have recruit Inslow, and then he's gonna show up next to my town or my next Procipinee. Now, I'm going to combine them together, but I recommend against this in most cases because when they go into combat, they split, and the militia only gets half of what the leader gets for experience for modifier. So if she's getting split experience, they get even a half of that. All right, so we have these mites kind of run around. I kind of want to deal with them. I'm the reason why I put Inslo in the party, even though I just explained why you don't want to do this, is that I want him to level up, and then after that, we can go from there. All right. The little Z's show that there's something to build there. What I'm doing now is actually going to train, and I'm going to train pioneers, because once you get to 50 population, you you could train a pioneer, and this expands your territory. You want to do this throughout the game, like all the time. So, training a pioneer, and then kind of think, okay, over here I do see a clay pit. I don't see what's over here, but that's where that those mites came from. Just kind of looking for area spend. But even if I'm not expanding, the pioneers is not just for expanding cities; it's for building outposts. Okay. All right. After you get to 10 fame, which I'm at 13, you unlock the dynasty system, and you can have a marriage candidate. So each marriage candidate, you have a requirements of having a certain amount of fame, and then they have different stats and everything. Now, as you marry, they have children. The children have stats based on who their parents are, and even affects their appearance. Um, so a couple things to consider is first, what do they bring? Well, he's a fire apprentice, and he uh, does research per city, so he can sit in the city, hanging out and gaining research, and then just being anywhere in the game, he has Lord Master, so he gets +1 research, and mana when stationed. So he's probably a good candidate for the capital, um, specifically. And this costs essence. This is your essence pool. This is going to cost me 1 essence. So he's a pretty good candidate. And then get X Fireball. Now the children get the same traits that the parents do. So I could have a child randomly have 4 spellcasting traits. That child could have uh, air magic, life magic, water magic, and fire magic if I got really lucky, and all this. So the more traits, the better they are. And then we have another one here. Yeah, not even close. We're going to pick Kaylin. They're going to propose. Okay, so now the family tree, she has a spouse now. Champions can die if they're, so this can sometimes happen. You kind of want to somewhat protect your spouse. You don't have to worry about too much. But the main thing is they can now have children. Now he's actually in the city. He starts in the city right now. And then each turn, I think it's a 5% chance for a child to be born, and then if they're in the same town, there's a 10% chance. So what I basically want to do is kind of get my champions together so they can start having children, and then those children can, um, they can have children, stuff like that. Get the dynasty working. So let's see. I have 1 movement point left here. What I'm going to do right now is actually take Inslow, put him into the city, and then I'm going to take Kaylin here and combine, and then, they'll fight together in this battle, because I just want to give them some experience. Alright, one thing you'll notice too, these little circles, what it is they have that bonus based based on the number of shards. That's kind of what's going on there. I don't think I got a shard though, but now experiences were rewarded just for being in battle. I don't actually have to attack with, you know, you can carry a unit into battle just to gather experience. Now, if they're really low hit points, they may be the focus of the enemies. They may chase after a really weak unit. Just wait here. All right. The threat, not much threat, is over. So we've dealt with the might that was kind of threatening our town. Not really. All right. Next turn we will have leatherworking. Okay, so we have leatherworking, shard harvesting, and civics. So civics is now 2 turns. What I want now is trading. So, and I can click trading. You know, you can click ahead, and then when the research is done, it's still going to be chosen for the next one. It remembers what you clicked, and I don't have to choose again. It'll just tell me, basically ask me if I still want to go down that path. Alright, what I'm going to do here is take all these units here, take my militia out, take Inslow out. Now, the dynasty stuff comes really quick as if they're together, so I might have try to get at least one child with them together. And let's see, and then also it'll give Insel a chance to run around. Oh wait, I can recruit this guy, so let's go grab him, because if you don't get there fast enough, an AI can come up and take those champions, and then you have to fight them. Okay, now we know it's 8, so I click recruit, and then it says, you know, here's my cost. Alright, and then I was just going to recruit him anyway. So he has the ability command, which is one of the commander's abilities, and water magic, which isn't a big deal, but he's just another guy to have in the group. Now, I could do, you know, many things here, you know, to get full use out of them. But now, what I'm not going to do is combine these 2 champions. At least not right away. Let's see, what do we have here? We have Feral Slavers Army. Click this. And a Bandit Army. And then there's a Cave Bear over here. I think what I'm going to do is wait till next turn and get the Shadow Work. Maybe I will combine, so they have a little easier time. Okay, see, now that I've selected it, because it shows cute, so I can just continue research. Alright, I think there's probably a decent city location here. I just gotta deal with all this stuff. That's kind of a obnoxious group to fight. Feral slaves. Actually, what I want to do is cast Shadow Work. Now, the summons appear on the same tile as the caster. So Procipinee is the caster, So let me get the Shadow Ward with this group here. And then the summons also gain experience too, so. Okay, and. Okay, we got our first child here. And you can use the random button or you can give it a name. And then if I go in my dynasty screen, I have a child. Once the child gets to 64 seasons, they grow to an adult. So I'll kind of keep them there. Okay, so we have our first pioneer. Looking over here, I have a spider colony. Over here is probably the edge of the map. And down here I have a couple city locations, but nothing really special right now. I have a iron ore, and then I have this here. I think what I'm gonna do is actually just head towards this way, and I'm gonna train another pioneer. Notice I have 8 research per turn now. I'm going to quickly look at the Discord, just kind of see what anyone's asking about anything. Let's move forward. Thing here, and then all right. Okay, I'm back. I was just checking here, see if anyone had any questions. All right, so we have a Shadow Org, and they have this ability Rush. Now, what Rush does, it says it takes an extra action. It's not quite accurate. What it does is it basically goes into the next turn on the queue and moves it so right away. It can be useful in certain situations, but more to like flank and or get to a important target. And what I want to do is just keep these two guys together at least until they gain a level, and then I'll probably considering, or then I'll generally split them. Okay, militia leveled up. Neither of the champions did. Okay, I tell you, this cave bear is dangerous, and this is how you lose stuff if you're not prepared for it. There's ways of dealing with it, but they sometimes just beat you down until the unit's dead. Okay, so I have to be level 5 to pick the next trait here. Now I could do a spell casting trait. Tutelage is actually not a bad idea. Tutelage might be better. Yes, it's better to have a spell I can cast on everyone that increases their experience by 25% versus just taking it for myself. Although I kind of need it anyways because I want. I might actually pick this one. I'll eventually get the other one, but lightning bolt is really nice. Okay, some more feral ghouls. Now, probably by now each of these units individually will have leveled up, but due to them being in the same party, they're splitting experience. So I might move over here. AI has a tendency to tiptoe like this. Um, but and go right here. All right. Now, if I attack this feral slave, I have 12 attack on my Shadow Org. Times 12 is 144. And then divide by 12 plus. I am not a person who does math in my head. I'm actually impressed I got that right. Let's see. And then, so the Shadow Works 12 attack and the 5 defense. And this is because they're defending. When they defend, they get 5 defense unless they get other bonuses. So 17 is 8.47. And notice how it says it does 4 to 8 damage to that target. Now, one thing I can see from that is none of these I fight can this wolf kill just by attacking this turn. So what I might actually do is defend, and the wolf will counterattack for full damage. And because they attack, that counterattack is going to be land with full damage instead of just doing 8 damage. It could do 12. So I'm gonna defend, and then I might move him over here, kind of just kind of in the way flank, and then we'll see. Okay, they're going to gang up on the militia. A couple of them got to Inslow, so it looks like they're going to pick on poor Inslow over here. All right. Inslow has the ability called Rescue. Trade places in our friendly unit and take another action. What I will do is confirm that works the same as Russian, which means probably not good. I'll move my wolf closer. Now wolves get a swarm bonus, so the swarm bonus, and it's double the swarm bonus. Instead of doing 12 damage, it's going to do up to 14. And because they're not defending anymore, they will do, or this wolf is going to do, it could do its full damage. But what I meant is because, so swarm, it gives a little extra damage. It didn't get a kill in. Now, Bannon has this ability called Command. It costs 3 stamina. It can give another unit a turn. And then kill this unit. Move up with militia. Okay, he has another command. He's going to spend his turn giving the wolf another turn. Actually, the militia have probably been better, but... Alright, Bannon leveled up, so did Inslow. Now we have to think about how do we specialize these. Now Bannon has a commander trait. But right now I have a really good commander leading the town, but it's probably not a terrible idea to make him commander 2. Other than that, defender, assassin, commander is like kind of a filler option. It's probably best, or command is like a filler ability. It's probably best when you're actually that particular unit doesn't need to attack all the time. Like defender, wants to defend a lot. Assassin does all of its things, mages, whatnot. So I think the only real way I'll be able to use command is to actually be a commander. Otherwise, it's just there, and it's a really nice ability. And then we got Inslo. We'll click on Inslo because I forget how he's set up. He's got rescue, Earth Apprentice, things like. So there's that. I already have a mage. I have a commander. I'll have two commanders because I'm gonna make. Inslo could either be a defender or a warrior. The rescue ability kind of reminds me of like the paladin from Final Fantasy IV, like with cover. And then have some mobility. I think I'm gonna go that route. Plus, defenders are fairly underrepresented. Okay, more Dilda herbs. Inslo actually has the defender actually starts with chain or be able to equip chain, so you can actually have chainmail at the beginning. And then we have initiative +1 initiative boots. I'm gonna give initiative boots to the commander here. Also leather armor. And then like kind of a fast weapon. Just so the more the commander attacks or generates command, they can kind of use that for the battlefield. All right. Okay, so now movement. Each of these enemies will move 1 tile per turn, and then if I hover over here, crossing river only costs 1 movement. I think it's actually wrong. I think it's supposed to say 0.5, but something that they'll. So if I move 1 tile, here these bandits could attack. But if I move 1 more, just because I have the movement, they won't attack. Now these Zerglings could, but not worried about them. There's not a good city location here at all. So I'm not going to be able to get a city that has essence, but it might be worth having one that has a pier and a forest nearby. Let's see. One point of caution: you don't want to do something with 1 material if you can help it. Because it cannot hit level 2 because 25 times 1 is 25 and you need 50 to grow. Now later on you'll be able, it'll just be a lot slower. So I think my first city is going to be over here, so I'll move 2 tiles up. I'd like to maybe see what's down here, but alright, let's grab the Lost Battleground, padded vest, and an Ergling. Now, notice I have 50 defenses. This is not a bug. They intentionally set this unit to have very high defense. Now, this is where I see that my Shadow Ward with 12 attack can only do 1 to 2 damage. Because of its high defense. Now, it doesn't have the baby ones don't really have a lot of hit points, so it's not that big of a deal, but it's kind of something to keep in mind. I'm going to actually use Rush to get around a little quicker so I can attack with this militia as well. Okay. Now, the next turn, I don't have to worry about these bandits coming close. Now, oh, we have some feral slaves, and then that's wild wargs. That's not actually a wolf pack. Okay, accuracy. So we get, because I'm playing on a dense map, got a lot of stuff here. Now, settling a city, there is a limit on how far away they can be. Now, these pioneers are in danger because if they stand here, they could be attacked by these bandits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move here and here and just hope this bear doesn't attack. And kind of looking over here now, I see a shard, and shards are a good spot for essence to appear. So I'm going to try to look there for a city. Okay. Alright, so we have some panthers over here and a lot of bandits. Okay, if I move here, I could be attacked because I'll lose all my movement points going there. If I move here, I'll be attacked. If I move here, I could be attacked. So the pioneers are in a lot of danger. I need to get my army over there. Also, just trying to think if it's better to split the party here. Let's see. Here. Oh, there's 5 feral slaves. That's still possible here. But I do want to defend first. I think what I'll do is these things aren't going to get close to me anytime soon. I'll leave Bandon back, and Inslow can walk up and defend. Oh, that wolf is now in a lot of danger. Let's go here. Because what could happen is if the wolf is focused down by all these, it could be killed, and then I'm out 30 mana. Alright, I don't think they're attacking or defending is going to be the best choice here. Let's join the fight. Okay, we'll have Enzo just guarding. He won't take that much damage, and he still gets his counterattack. Oh, no, he went after Bannon. I thought he was going to actually attack Inslow. Okay. I do want to split these two. Okay, so Commander, I think this I'm gonna make him a general. So generals, you want to go accuracy, and then I would say after accuracy, I'd probably go trainer, because then the general can join the champions without splitting experience too much. And Inslow is a defender, and I actually don't know how this is gonna be. One thing I want for Inslow though is I want to get the rank 3 Earth Mage because I get Lower Land, Raise Land, Set in Stone, and Shockwave. 3 of those spells are must-haves. And then Tremor's a must-have, and then Stone Scale is a buff that you can cast. Alright, and Pioneers can join. Now they are defended. Alright, I think a Fireball Scroll might be something I might consider that. But let's challenge a Clouded Ruby. That Furnace Staff is going to be nice. Okay, Civics Knowledge. That tone might be a child. Alright, okay, so I got trading, and what that does is it connects my towns together. It also gives a lot of useful abilities here. For the second town, I think Administration is a good choice. Yep, I thought it was another child. And now you can have 4 children per set of parents. And we have a scammer. And now they don't exist. Stream Boo, I don't know, they're obnoxious. Alright, oh, here we go. Yeah, there we go. That's a nice city location. Now, it's a little problematic for reasons I'll explain later. It's very problematic, but that is worth going to. I might have to defend it though. Okay, so 3-3-3. We have 3 materials, 3 essence, and 3 grain. So we will settle. And this is Tenfell. Okay, meditation. So right now I have 4 mana per turn. I cast meditation. I get 7. This is how you get a lot of mana going. Let's get some of these up, and then I want to cast some spells here to boost it. Let's see, Enchanted Hammers. That increases my production. And what I also want is another Scholar Sanctum, but I need to save for it. In the meantime, I might cast Inspiration. And even just like 1 point of research here and there does make a world of difference. Alright, now I do have a pretty decent, it's pretty decent threat. We have a Myrscath, which can be hurt a little bit, but I don't think I'll be having too many problems with it. But this is going to be fort. Now, if you're trying to remember what you're going to do with the town, just give it a name ahead of time. And then now I know that this is my fort. Alright, I think what I'm going to do is wait a turn for just my units in here to heal. I pick up any, so most or both my guys have armor. And then I have accuracy gloves. Probably give that to Insel here. I think I'm gonna craft the fireball scroll just in case I find a good spot to use it for the next fight. And then for construction, I would say probably a workshop. Okay, we have a new pioneer. So now, I know in a lot of games when you play them, like it's like there's a colonization phase and you have to beat everything to it. Not in this game. Colonization happens throughout the whole game. I mean, the better, if you can get them sooner, the better. But there's also another mechanic here. Now, you don't see it that much because I have Bannon, who's a commander, and he's reducing unrest by 20%. But there's that territory is not contiguous to capital. What that means is this blue border, this influence border, is not connected to this town. So I need to spread my influence with pioneers. And to do that, I make outposts. So, and outposts also allow you to gather resources. Now, I'm not going to, I could build it here, but I know for a fact that getting, if I build a monument, which won't take me that long, I'll just claim that tile. So I want to move one away. And then here I'll claim the iron ore. And then also try to move in ways to gather, have as much territory as possible. And if you kind of build pioneers often and keep very active connecting, think of it, if you've played StarCraft, think of it like you're playing Zerg and you're expanding your creep. You want to expand your borders constantly, you know, just so you don't fall behind on it, because this the harder or the stuff doesn't generally spawn inside your territory. There are some events that are an exception to it, but you know, when you start seeing like epic spawns, they won't show up inside your territory, so you want to spread your territory. All right, I am going to go right here, and I build an outpost. Now I have this 5x5 area now uncovered, and I have this iron ore mine. And then over here, let's look at train. Generally want, I think actually getting probably training a unit. So let's do a unit design here. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide all the designs. You could use these; they're actually decent, but I'd rather. I think the fun is designing my own units. Alright, so the unit obviously has the blood trait, and then this is its base stats. This is the labor cost. The labor cost is going to determine, you know, basically it's how much production it costs to do it. Now this is per unit size, so the labor cost of this is actually 24 times 3, because the smallest unit is going to be 3 units. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you stack up, you know, get the labor cost to 100, and you need 300 labor to build one. Now, a few starting weapons. They're all kind of pretty weak. You got Staff Spear Club. Don't even bother looking at the staff. The staff's really bad. So then it's Spear, which ignores 33% of the target's defense, immune to counterattack, and then Club. Club is really nice, and so is just hammers in general. Because what happens is, as they damage, if they damage a target, how much damage they do determines their chance of knocking an enemy prone. It's kind of hilarious, actually. So I'm going to do a club, and then I'm going to give them a shield. Now, this icon here, this means upgradable. So what it means is when you gain access to the next upgrade, it automatically changes the design. I don't like that. Some people do. I like to have absolute control on which unit gets what and when. So I might just pick the shield here. I might equip this unit with armor, and now she's bald headed. And I might give her initiative boots to give her a little bit of initiative instead of the extra armor. And accuracy. Accuracy is the chance of hitting, increased chance of hitting. Now the question is do I want the greaves and the helm? And I do a little bit of both. Now right now, this unit is going to cost 123 production to train, which is okay right now. I don't need to do hair. They'll always have a helm. But I could give them a cloak. Get the 2 cloaks. Pick the one here. Okay. Now, if I ever want this unit to have plate, I want to give it to him here because I can always equip better gear later. So if I find plate that I can't use, I can give it to this particular champion here. Right, let's see. So we have plate, and then it decides kind of what we need to do. Now, if uh, a club is not the best defending weapon, so I don't want defender. Uh, some extra hit points is pretty useful for a unit that's going to probably take some damage. We have dodge that reduces damage by a lot. But I think what I want to do is I want to take underdog. Well, there's underdog and brute. They're basically if you're higher level than the target, then brute comes into play. If you're lower level, then underdog comes into play. Also finesse, which is not going to happen with this particular unit, so we can forget about that. And then initiative. Having higher initiative allows you to obviously go more often. Charge and bloodthirsty. Let's see. What I want to do with maces is I want to get their attack stat as high as possible so they have a higher chance of knocking the enemies prone. Now, I don't want to lose a hit point though to do that, and taking an initiative penalty is a risk. Accuracy. This is a little deceptive because if you're basically below 25%, 8 attack, it allows you to basically have the same attack as having 2 units, but usually I want to run away at that point. Fast might be fast and let's see, re-bridge. I think discipline. And acrobat. So let's see, acrobat, discipline, accuracy, and spell resistance per level, and then this is dodge per level. Okay, now for this, you give them a name. And this is kind of like a, Magic the Gathering card you're creating here. You can actually set its background and pose. And there's a little flip background border if you want here too. Okay, now that that is done, you can see here, click on this. Now, a regular, so this unit it takes 8 turns, and part of it is just I don't have a lot of production in this town here too, so that's part of it. But also, I invested quite a bit for a really good guard character. I am going to recruit one just because I think I need the extra attack, or just another target here, just because there's a lot of stuff down here. And now that these two cities are connected, I can actually there's 4 times movement speed to go from this location, so with 4 movement I can move 16 tiles. So what I want to do is let's do a couple things. I think I want to fight this Marscath and things, all that here. So I'm gonna run over here, and because those roads, they were able to get to the other town within 1 turn, and they still have a movement point to spare. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack with everything, or maybe not. Let's see. Try and think here how this is going to go. So these bandits can do this Myers scat. Yeah, I think might be safe here and just attack with everyone, just so I don't try to fight with the minimum number of units and lose it. A lot of the encounters afterwards would be quite easy. So now we look at, this is a little bigger combat. Here's so we look at my threats. I check first, do we have archers? We don't have archers. We have a bandit captain, he can do quite a bit of damage, and then we have a Marscath. These bandits are pretty easy, I don't have to worry about them. None of them are even high level. I would say then next, who's going to do the most damage? Who has the highest accuracy? This Marscath is going to be the first target. Then the bandit captain. Then I'll clean up. Now, for my side, the Marscath has 10 defense, which is something to keep in mind here. Actually, that makes the bandit captain. Well, no, he has 8 defense. What I want to do here is, when in doubt, just fireball. 627 damage. Who's goes? Shadow Word goes next. I'm looking at my order here. Shadow Word, Ben, and Kaylin. I got plenty of targets to follow up on. She also has a mage. Will have some spell mastery. So I might cast Fireball here. Okay, took 1 unit out. Bandit Captain attacked here. Let's see. Now he's attacked, and his next turn's not for a little while here. I look to see, can I kill anyone this turn? 48 damage, no. Over here, so then I might go. Only thing is, he'll kill my wolf. Now this gets a retaliation attack. And then Bannon here, going to miss. And let's see. He has fire or burning hands. Don't really have a good spot I can stand to use that. Now, the only thing I gotta be careful is this Marscath could just walk up and kill, and he has 4 attack. He's not gonna do much damage. I think what I might do right now is probably move him here. So he could be attacked. Oh, there's my wolf. Now, kind of positioned all the way. He's a defender. What I might have him do is just walk up and defend. Now I need to. I gotta remove some targets from the field pretty quickly. These two guys are in position here. I think what she's going to do is cast. Let's see, I don't have much mana still. Haste, and let's haste my militia here. Because they're probably going to be my biggest attackers until they, or they will just get murdered. Come on. Okay, let's see, Soul Spark, 6 damage. I need to get a kill here. It's just not worth it. There we go, she crit, okay. I don't have enough to cast Burning Hands. Let's see if we can get lucky here. Okay, didn't kill. Come on, get that Marscath. There we go. Okay. Alright, now I gotta go offensive. Let's just remove as much incoming damage as possible and then finish off with the Bandit Captain. And I kind of switched a lot of my, my approach to combat just so I can avoid, or I gotta think of the best approach on the battlefield. That could irritate me if I lost my militia after all that. Alright, Kaelin is going to be a commander. Set of knives here. Okay. Now, with that being down, I've used up all my movement. Okay, so just need to make sure I keep an eye on the other town here, because it's undefended. And let me want the militia to rest up. I want Bannon to be here to lower the unrest. I need Kaelin and Queen Procipinee to head back to town. They didn't get all the way there and they could be attacked by feral ghouls, but I think they can handle it. Well, no, they can't handle it. Just in case, I'm gonna get Inslow over there. And do I have 2 movement? Yeah, let's loot this. Leather Greaves. Bannon. We'll equip that. And let's go back to here. Let's give Procipinee armor. Alright, and split the group. Alright, what's over here? A feral encampment, and it's actually undefended, so let's take that so it can't spawn anything. And Ring of Extreme Haste, it's a nice item there. And now if I go over here, I still have movements. To get back. Alright, Ring of Extreme Haste. Initiative's good for commanders. Let me see, here's 10 spell resist, 10 fire resist. This doesn't matter too much. Initiative is good for commanders and mages, but lean towards mages being the better choice. Mages get a lot of use out of initiative. Now, I wouldn't go extreme with it. They still need other stats, but mainly they need spell mastery, which you can get other ways, and initiative. Now I'll wait for the guardswomen to get out here, and then okay, these panthers can be a bit of a problem. They do a lot of damage. Let's see. I think what I might actually do is use a tilde herb. And let's kill the bandits here. You know what I should do? I should give these guys that Blood Hunter Cuirass. Between this video, I might learn how to say that, pronounce that word. Alright. Yeah, I might give that to the, because you can, one thing that's different is you can actually equip militia with any item. And I think I want to consider giving them something better. Let's see, upgrade. Oh, I can upgrade them to all leather armor for 60 gold, and I could probably afford that. So I might do that. So this, now this equips whatever items are not replaced by something else. So it might be a little bit more than 60 actually. 84. Okay. Yeah. No. I think what I might do is I might equip this item here, and then use the upgrade to do the other gear slots. All right. That makes them a lot more durable, which is going to be important for those prowlers. For the prowlers, I have enough mana to kind of deal with them for now. But I do have another threat here. I have these bandits, and they may come and destroy my outpost. Normal bandits. Let's see what they do this next turn. Okay, they walked away here. I think I could ninja. Oh no, it's those. Okay, 4 bandits. I might send Enslow back. Well, now he can be attacked. And if I move away, these bandits could attack my town. So what I might cast right now, I have Freeze and Tremor. Freeze is a little cheaper and then lowers their initiative. I'll make fighting them easier. Let's cast Freeze on these guys, so I didn't think that I wasn't aware that Enzo was going to be attacked. Move here and then I will deal with those next turn. Okay, so now what we have here, I have trading administration. What I want to do now is get training and then weaponry. So now you need both of the prerequisite texts before you can go to the next one. So this one has a prerequisite training. So training's the next one that's coming up. Yeah, we have lots of fun coming our way. But around 40, that's kind of when I try to upgrade my or have the better weapons. Okay, now I feel like I might be doing a lot of fights coming up here, so let me fight this bandit. Let's try minimize our damage here. And let's see, how much mana does that cost? 5. Might cast slow on that bandit because I think that did not work. Happened off screen, but I think it said resisted, and it. I don't think it. I think it maybe it did go through. Yeah. Oh no, it's freeze from the freeze spell. That's right. Alright, I might run over here and then I might use command on my militia here and walk up and kill one, really hurt the other. They're gonna throw their daggers over here, start beating on the archer. I could probably have killed 2 if I see. Okay, Ansel leveled up here. Let's see. I'm probably try to think if I want what I want to grab right now. Every time the unit struck it, it's 1, and immune to be knocked prone, more hit points, rescue. I think I might grab. Do I want healer or do I want potential? Should we grab defender? Alright, so he's going to go grab leadership. Now, that's a bug. These are prowlers. They have 11 attack. They have 33 initiative. I think what... Okay. That's what they do. That works actually. Alright, so... But I can't cast, I don't think I can cast, freeze again until a few turns go by. What do I want to do? I want to... Against these prowlers, I want to cast evade to have some extra evasion. Probably all 3 units. And then I have a workshop. My train guardswoman over here. And then we'll probably be good on units for a little while. Yeah, I won't have any real spells to do this. This is a risk. And it's still... It's gonna be a few turns before I can go over there. I think I might leave these guys in here. Let me take this. I'm gonna wait till the next turn and kind of clear the stuff around here. And if they haven't been attacked, then I'll clear the prowlers. Now the mobs are using my roads against me too. They're moving across them pretty quick. All right. So we have. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna protect my outpost and bring a couple champions out. And let's have Enzo grab this to unlock training. Alright, and let's get another pioneer. Let's queue 2 of them, but also probably need to get a sage starting to be built. Okay, someone must be adjacent. Alright, so we have our new guardswoman. And again, basically as she levels up, she just gets stronger overall. Alright, I'm going to defend first, and he's going to defend. Then I'm going to just kind of wait for an opening for... Have her go over here to kind of cut off movement. Have Procipinee go over here, and he's going to wait. Now, fortunately, we might have cast haste. Move out of the way. Melee. He walks up and flame strikes. Okay, now we have a group of prowlers, and I want to. Oh, we have a group of bandits over here too, so. I move here to avoid that attack. Now we're going to see what happens here. Okay, so the bandits don't attack, they actually retreat. Got lots of fun here. Okay, this group of bandits here, I'm going to actually have Procipinee, Kaelin come back here. The militia and probably Bannon will combine, fight the bandits. Is this gonna be easy? Question is if I can do this without any losses. Okay, Archer, so I don't want to move up. I want them to come to me. And by defending too, I gain stamina. As well as being defended. Right, so he's got enough stamina to get command. I'll let them go real quick. Now that they've attacked, now I will go up and counterattack. Cannons go next. Got a kill. Got 2 kills. Dodge and dodge. Move up. We have this crushing blow. Basically, for every point of stamina, now I've built up 5. I did get +1 attack, so, and which didn't do squat. And there we go. Can I? Oh, I can command myself. I didn't know that. I was just curious. I wanted to see if I could do it. Cool. I order myself to move. It's been about 3 hours, so it's probably a stopping point soon. Alright, so we got those bandits. Now, they'll keep coming unless I deal with the bandit camp, and the bandit camp looks pretty easy, so let me work on that. Do have the group of prowlers to deal with, and have these two take out this Urgling next. Alright, and let's kill the bandits so they stop spawning over here. Right, probably should have healed first, but might actually back up, use a build a herb. And block this off. Now these guys have to run around, do his own control, and then attack one of them that's attacking here, and order them to repeat that once more. Throwing knives. Here. Let's take advantage of swarm bonus. I guess either one would have been fine for that. And then let's use a tilde herb. Usually I get some pretty good weapons, even guided sphere. A lot of people think it's way too common, but which is probably true, but be awesome right now. Alright, Urgling Nest. I thought I banned this guy, but I probably didn't spell his name right. But let's fix that real quick. Sorry, I gotta deal with moderation. There's a way, I think, let's see, okay, ban. There we go. Okay. Oh, let's fight an Urgling with no mana. With 2 casters, I could barely do any damage. Oh, this is gonna be painful. Okay, Soul Spark. Splitting 15 experience. Okay, a little starting stamina ability. Oh, what do we got here? We got just a dude. Champion I found earlier. Yeah, Fireball Scroll. Those prowlers are now 6 of them. Still, okay, still has one movement. Let's get rid of these prowlers because they're all over the place. Now this I'm not 100% sure I will do this without losses. I sometimes over worry, and I think I'm over worrying right now because that might not be too bad. Okay, if I hit, what I need to do is actually kill whatever I can as quickly as possible. Okay. I didn't want to attack. I did not want to attack. I really did not want to attack. We lose them. Hit the wrong key. I meant to hit spacebar. And that took a lot of turns. I just lost 8 turns of production for that mistake. Winslow still needs a shield. Let's finish off this one. Order you to go. Okay, I gotta get Enzo out of there because he's. Oh, yeah, enough movements. Okay, Bannon is going to. I actually get Bannon Administrator right now. Alright. Winslow, I want to do healing. We'll afraid of this fight. Procipinee would actually be better for this. And once I kill these prowlers, then I can turn off a lot of buffs. Yeah, I'm gonna wait one turn. Just because I have a guardswoman coming up here. And what we got? Pioneer up here. Okay. Now, I could lose these guardswomen after one round here. I'm not going to bring the other commander. Alright. I'm kind of relying on a fireball. Oh, and they position probably the worst way possible for this. But they are far enough. Let me think here. So, all the prowlers go. But most of them don't get close except for one of them. So what I'm going to do is haste on Procipinee. And back up. And these 3 prowlers. I think I might back up a little bit further. Just so I can group them up a bit more, and if all my guys stay together, let's see. My Might just be better just tuck in a corner and limit the amount of attackers. It might, if I run too much and take just too much damage and I retreat, then that's not going to do me good either. Alright, spells, items, fireball. I want to get greedy and go for 4. They, let me look at the attack. One can attack. I'm going to take a chance here that I don't think I'm 2, 3. Yeah, there we go. Now we can fireball. Now everyone that shows up there is a bonus, and they all can be fireballed. Boom! Okay. I even eliminated one. Alright. And command. Let's go up. I think she can. Oh, she does. That was even worth it. I should have actually bashed. Oh, come on. No. Oh, good. Yeah, I made a mistake. Slow. I resisted. Oh, good. He dodged. Okay, this was going to be a treat command. Oh, no, 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 no. Ah. Good. That scared the crap out of me. Alright, Mantle of Oceans. This is probably actually a great spot to end it here. So what this does is it lowers the casting cost by 40%. So now I have that. Build. That will greatly reduce the amount of danger in this area by just getting a couple of those camps out of there. And now, let's see. I've produced growth. I might do that, so I can get that fort upgrade pretty quick. Pioneer. After the Pioneer, I might do some monument, just so I can make sure to connect this stuff. And that Pioneer, I want to grab this air shard. Got some undead coming. Of chain coif. Second. I just want to make sure I give something really strong to me. Enough chain coif and stamina. Give the stamina bonus to Bannon. Yeah, have the gloves too. Alright. Okay, Enzo Bannon. Enzo Bannon and guardswoman will head back. Procipinee will join Kalen, who's currently in town. It's like this pioneer. I need to go right here. That will connect those two. Outpost. Okay, so this is all connected. And then this pioneer it's going to happen after the monument. Just checking the cost of rushing, which I really can't afford anyways. So I'm going to rush this monument, and then I'll have the city connected. Now, these undead are attacking here. Prospinee's heading up here. So far, decent start. Did lose one unit, one fairly expensive unit to train at the point of the game. But I've unlocked Water Magic 3. Actually, before I forget, I'm going to dispel some of these evades. In fact, all of them. So I get more mana coming in. So, got Water Magic, so I can now really work on being a mage. And next video here, I will I might still be doing some expansion here. This part was key, just getting all this unlocked here. I do have another city location for a town, and I'm gonna probably have to build the town here. There isn't really a better spot. Probably right here, because then I get the. No, that's cave. That's a quest location. But somewhere around here, I might build a town, and then kind of look to expand this way, and kind of up here too. Might need to get a scout just because I have a lot of force to get around quickly. But scouts also work for armies. It's an army buff, it's not a unit buff. And kind of go from there. Hopefully this video helps. You know, if you like it, watch the next one. Alright, bye-bye.